They're going to kick you out.
I have a theory unrelated to this. I think Conor McGregor will never fight again. I think Conor McGregor is in love with his new steroid body.
Yeah.
And he is on so much HGH.
Is he on steroids?
Oh, very much so.
I haven't looked. I haven't seen him. I don't even know what he looks like.
He's almost unrecognizable.
He's on human growth hormone, and he might be on something very exotic that we're not even too keyed into. But the whole story is he broke his leg in a very serious kind of way.
Yeah, I remember that part.
And so he's been on a cocktail of drugs, I'm sure, to heal that, right? Because that's a real difficult thing to not just come back from, and then be a mixed martial artist. Yeah, that's not what we're looking for.
Look at this guy's face. Yeah. That's not even Conor McGregor. Like, he's added some muscle. You can see it like in the shoulders and the traps and stuff. He's a bigger man on the right.
Yeah.
But the way that his face puffed out is indicative of like excessive T and HGH, and like his hands apparently have grown. He's a bigger man.
Seen them say his hands look bigger. The photos I've seen really seemed, you can pick one photo and say anything and make anything look like you want it to look, but
his tattoo,
everything I see, he looks like he's put on bone mass. That's what I see.
His interview with Ariel Helwani, like you get to see his face in a long way, and it's not like you said, a still shot can be misleading. You see a guy in a funky, blowing whatever, but no, this is a longer video, and he really wasn't cognitively there anymore. He's not the guy on the mic that he used to be, I think. And two, he just doesn't look like he used to. They look like brothers.
As far as whether he'll fight or not, they do look like brothers. That's a good point. If you told someone those were brothers, they believe it.
Those are the three toughest guys in Ireland.
No one can take all three of those men. I tell you that right now.
Yeah, that much is true.
Not even John Jones.
I think that you're absolutely right about him being, because he's always been in love with himself, but man, he really seems to like how big he looks and how thick he looks, and like he's just flexing all the time on the internet.
Look at Dwayne Johnson. Look at Dwayne Johnson's like a really good example of this, right? Where it's like he's made an empire around his physique. But not only that, it's launched so many different avenues for him, where it's like, yeah, Conor McGregor could go out there. Could he still fight? I don't doubt that for a minute. He's Conor McGregor. He's still a tough as nails dude. But like, genuinely speaking, why does he have to? Like,
he doesn't have to.
Conor fucking McGregor, like he could do anything at this point, and anyone would watch.
The question is like, why does he have to? He doesn't have to.
Oh, of course, no one has to.
He has enough money. He can do anything he wants. The question is like, what does he want to do? And I think he's more in love with being jacked than he is with being a top fighter.
So
there's more prolonged, longer shelf life.
I think you're real close. I think what he's in love with being in the public eye, and right now he's just getting so much attention and like clicks and stuff for just being him and looking that way. I don't know how long that goes on. It seems like he needs to get in there and beat somebody up to keep the fires burning.
Or he needs to do something, like get maybe a movie or something like that. Like that would get him into the public
he's in the new Roadhouse.
I want to hear him
coming out soon. He's the
guy.
I didn't know that.
He's
the guy in Roadhouse. It's a big movie.
It's going to be and it won't
be.
It's
a Jake Gyllenhaal movie. It's a real movie.
I am very interested in this. I didn't know that. I just learned it now from you.
Yeah,
and he can't act. He can't speak very well anymore.
This movie was filmed probably a year and a half, 2 years ago. You get plenty of takes. And when you say he doesn't speak well anymore, when we've seen him do media, he has spoken kind of poorly. I watched him do some of The Ultimate Fighter. He's fine. He's in a suit there, being articulate, talking about slipping punches and being fucking stupid like he always.
Also just could have been stoned out of his mind too.
I don't think he does.
I think his team is like 1-9
kind of
in the first 10 fights. And no one wants to be on his team. They all like. So what happens in The Ultimate Fighter is when you lose, you get knocked out, right? Sent off the island, if you will. So the teams get very lopsided, and they start taking winners and putting them on the losers team. And no one wants to be on Conor McGregor's team. There's one guy, actually, Conor's teammate, but everyone else is like fighting. We have teammates fighting people on the same team just so they can avoid being on Conor's team.
Damn.
So for him to fight, for him to fight, he has to get back into the USADA pool, the drug testing pool, and then it requires 6 months of testing. So if he were to say today, I'm in, take my blood, then the earliest he can legally fight is 6 months from today. But that day moves a day further every day that we
and
move
he hasn't done that. He hasn't initiated that process.
True.
He's doing nothing but talking about fights. It was the whole point of the Ultimate Fighter reality show was setting him up to fight a man named Michael Chandler, who was the opposite team's coach, who showed up and worked.
And they usually do that at the end of every fighter.
Connor's bored of that girl. He wants a new one. He's onto a new toy. Now he's calling out the winner of the most recent fight, Justin Gaethje, because he's got a lot of pop. He fucking knocked Justin Poirier out with a leg kick to the head. There's no other kind of kick. A kick to the head, and then did a fucking backflip off the thing. And he's the new bad motherfucker. And Connor's like calling him out. And so like Michael Chandler's over there crying because he hasn't fought in a year or something, waiting on Connor. Could have had a fight.
Out.
Could have been working.
Dude, it's really obvious. Like, as someone who doesn't follow UFC, just as a viewer, like, it's beyond obvious this guy's never fighting again. Like, he's on steroids, he's lifting weights, he's moved on to a different era of life. He makes more money and has made more through his whiskey than he ever made through UFC. He's richer than any fighter in the UFC has made like money through fighting. Like he's done. He's getting jacked. He's getting juiced up. He's on his fucking liquor money. Like that dude is never getting back in a ring. He'll talk about it when he wants a little attention. And then people will give it to him for the next couple of years. And then someone else will come along and he won't get it anymore.
And then he'll probably come back in his 40s and then do a fight then, get fucked up. And then that's it.
That's always a possibility. When these guys do fade, They missed the
I know
limelight.
who he's going to fight. Here's what I think happens, Woody. If Nate Diaz wins against Jake Paul this weekend, I think, then
that's a real sentence.
Then 6 months afterwards, Conor McGregor is going to fight Nate Diaz. He'll fight Nate in like New York or something. I don't know if there even is a card in New York, but you could sell out Madison Square Garden with Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz 3 anytime you want.
Is there tag team boxing in real life, or is that like a cartoon?
Wait, no, there's not. He's really fucking with you.
I'm sure there is.
Someone had to experiment with the concept.
Why would it just have been made up for TV shows? Like I just realized
I have seen like 5v5 MMA fighting in Poland or something like that. But I guess I don't think that's legal in America. I don't think there's any tag team fighting in this country, and it's like barely a thing.
Yeah, it's small time for sure. Just like they have 2v1. I've seen 2v1. Where they have two little guys on one big one. The big one was wearing a suit.
Yeah.
Was his name? Do you remember his name? Like Fairplay?
I would if you said it. No, I don't. That doesn't sound like it.
Johnny Fairplay.
I just watching a video of a big guy in a suit fighting two
backyard fighting.
Men.
Like
two small men.
Set up
they were in an octagon. They were indoors in an octagon. A ring.
Indoors.
It was professional. Lights and shit. Cameras. Referees.
There's a YouTube channel where they do backyard MMA, and at first I thought they were going to be total chumps. Most of these guys are trained, maybe all of them. And I visualize myself, probably overestimate how I would do in these fights, and they would all beat me, except for maybe the smallest of them.